This podcast is part of the Red 5 Network. For more Red 5 Network podcasts, visit red5network.com.
Wait, there's something very weak coming through.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
Hello, fellow Galactic listeners. I'm Aaron Julian, and this is WSTR, Galactic Public Access, a Star Wars podcast. Welcome to episode 258. We hope you and yours are well, and with everything crazy going on, we want to continue to be a platform that promotes positivity, life, and hope, and a little Star Wars along the way. Today, we're continuing to celebrate our John Williams Jamboree all month of February, and this week, we're looking at his work on the sequel trilogy. To help me with this endeavor, we've got a man who needs no introduction, our founding member of WSTR, and our favorite returning guest, the leader of the Syndicate podcast, Armand Haddad. Welcome back.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Aaron, for having me on. This feels like a Syndicate episode. It's you and I.
It pretty much is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of who's here, or rather who's not here, Heather, Carla, and Todd, all for various reasons, have the night off. So we bid them adieu, and it's just going to be the A's hanging out, Aaron and Armand. I don't have to tease the news because we're not doing that this week.
Oh my goodness.
I know. It's rare. We're breaking tradition here, but we do not have a news tease because we do not have any news items. Not that there's no news fit to print, but we've been putting off some of our segments for several weeks now. And so we want to take some time to catch up on some fan mail, some intercepted Imperial transmissions. And so that's what we're going to do. Without any further ado, let's hop into our main topic.
And now for our feature presentation.
Okay, so quick recap. On February 8th, John Williams turned 90 years old. So we're dedicating a couple episodes to celebrate John's fantastic, amazing work on Star Wars. So, so just to look back, in episode 255, we looked at the original trilogy. In episode 256, we took a look at the prequel trilogy. And now, today, with Armand, it is time to look at the sequel trilogy. So, Armand, why don't you set the stage for us? What are we looking at here with the music?
So we are looking at the most popular songs according to iTunes. I don't know why we're looking at iTunes. I guess we're boomers and not Spotify.
I think it's the same thing for like any streaming service, but iTunes just has that like popularity meter with each track.
Oh.
I don't know why other platforms don't have that, but whatever.
But Spotify has the amount of streams.
Oh.
It's even easier to read. But I digress. We're going to review them. Then we're going to pick the ultimate 3 songs from the sequel trilogy.
Amen. Okay, so first up, we're going to take a look at Star Wars, The Force Awakens. So, I mean, we could wax lyrical about what all this music means and John Williams, his journey with the films, but I think it would be best if we just jumped right into it. How does that sound?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Here is the Jedi Steps and finale.
I don't hear anything.
What a beautiful, lovely tune, Armand.
Absolutely.
So this plays when Rey is on Ahch-To at the end, and she's ascending all the steps up to where eventually we see Luke in all his old and gray foxy glory.
Silver Fox.
Silver Fox, indeed. So what do we got going on with this track, Armand?
So, I mean, I do have to say, when this film came out in 2015, I absolutely loved the film. The soundtrack was a huge aid in that because, as you know, probably, Aaron, a film is 60% its music.
Mm-hmm.
And with The Force Awakens, like, the music was so on point. And with this, closing of a chapter with The Force Awakens having the Jedi Steps, which leads into the finale and the end credits, it just has so much emotional weight to it. And not gonna lie, every time I listen to this song, I'm transported back to Ahch-To. I'm seeing Rey go up the steps. I'm seeing her see Luke Skywalker for the first time, and I'm like, and then she pulls out the lightsaber.
Yes.
It's such a beautiful moment.
Got that sweet helicopter shot of them in Ireland. It's fantastic.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, this is, I'm just letting you know right now, this is going to be a weird discussion, at least for me, because as divisive as the sequel trilogy was, I don't think anybody really complained about the music at all. The music was just consistently good Star Wars tunes.
Yeah.
However, it's also like the least memorable out of all the trilogies, as far as like individual themes, and like I can hear a bunch of different music cues and stems from Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith,
Right.
Phantom Menace even. Wasn't really much like that in the sequel trilogy. Rey's theme is probably the strongest counterexample to that, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm glad that you're bringing that up because when Todd approached me to come on and guest in this episode, I warned him. I was like, I don't like the music, from 2 out of the 3 films. And the music that I do enjoy is from The Force Awakens. And I think it's because John Williams, he approached this new trilogy of films like 15 years later from Revenge of the Sith. So he had to come up with new themes, new melodies, and it shows in The Force Awakens. You have Rey's theme and the March of the Resistance, the Jedi Steps, and also Kylo Ren's suite and First Order. So you have that, and then with the 2 other films, everything is derived from The Force Awakens, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like this trilogy was front-loaded with all the good music, and then
Right.
Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker kind of got the leftovers, where you have a much more even spread with the other trilogies.
Right.
And especially like Revenge of the Sith, we all thought, including John Williams, that this was his last time working on Star Wars, so he just gave it all that he got. Doesn't feel like it with this trilogy, I'm afraid to say.
Yeah. Oh well. But it's still good. It's not amazing, but it's not bad. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Also, the man is like 85 when he started working on this. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
could cut him
still
some
try
slack.
to be
He's earned
creative.
it.
Yeah. Still try to be creative when you're in your 80s.
Yeah.
This man is like dedicated and like a true visionary in his field.
Indeed. And yeah, with this theme in particular, we get all the themes in the movie. Like we got the Kylo Ren suite right now. And that's always been a strong point of the credits music, the finales for each movie. There's a reason why they're one of the number ones on the soundtrack. Simply because they like dip in and grab all the themes from the movie and just put them together. It's great. It's a very John Williams thing to do, but it's great.
Yeah, it's like a nice little overview of the whole film. I absolutely love it. And I do have to say, with the finale music, it's like you can see the entire film in the end credit. Just listening to it, it's like, oh, I remember all these moments. It's like a nice little bow on the package.
Yeah. You ever been to the opera?
Yeah, not specifically the opera, but I've been to Chicago Symphony Orchestra.
Yes. So, if you've been to the opera before, almost all operas will have an overture before the show actually starts, and it's just like, it's music and it's not that intense, but they play it just for people to walk in and find their seats and prepare for the experience. And
Whoa.
yeah, overtures almost always have like a mix of all the different musical themes packed into one right at the beginning. So John
Nice.
Williams is walking into that tradition with what he's doing here.
He knows what he's doing. He's a professional, Aaron.
Yeah,
That shows.
there's a reason why he's a legend.
Yes.
Okay, so with that out of the way, we got our next piece of music here. Number 2, as determined by the listeners of iTunes. And that is Ray's theme.
I'm transported back to 2015. Opening nights.
Before the dark
Midnight.
times.
Before
the
the dark
Empire.
times. Before the Empire. Before the COVID. I meet the scavenger on Jakku, and I'm like, oh, she's amazing. The theme is amazing as well. It's so whimsical and so like inspiring. Like it captures her desire for adventure to leave Jakku.
Yeah,
Prison.
it slots in very well with Luke, like during his the stage of his journey when we see him on Tatooine in A New Hope, where he has this yearning for adventure, and just feels trapped where he is. Very much the same with Rey. Just tonally, it's different. It's not as like pulp fantasy as it is with Luke's theme.
Yeah.
With this, it's a bit more complicated, a bit more melancholic even. But yeah, there's still, it's like a dance between like cynicism and hope.
Perfectly balanced.
As all things should
be.
Indeed. I don't think I have much more to say about this. It's just great.
I do.
Okay.
So, we've seen Tatooine with both the original trilogy and the prequels. So, we're introduced to a new desert planet, Jakku. And I do have to say, before we get to Rey's theme in the soundtrack, we're introduced to the title, I think it's the second one, The Scavenger, where it has this beautiful introduction to before Rey's theme kicks in. And it's like this, like, almost reminiscent to like Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's a bit of a hallmark to when John Williams is kind of like depicting this like desert wasteland, the dunes, and the sand, and like you feel it in that moment. It's kind of similar to when Finn is walking through the desert after his TIE fighter crashes.
Yeah.
Where it's like this, almost like a dreamscape. And that track in particular, leading into Rey's theme, is just, it just sets the mood. And you feel like you're transported to this space desert society. I love it. It's so cool.
It really is. Well, we got one more track to talk about with The Force Awakens, and in this case, it is March of the Resistance.
Yeah. No. When this movie came out, I kid you not, I bought a cassette tape.
No.
Because back then, they sold cassette tapes of the Force Awakens soundtrack, so I bought one.
Oh.
And my car, I drove an older car, which had a cassette.
I remember
deck
it.
in.
Is that the one that you
Popped
crashed
in.
like the Hammerhead cruiser?
Yes.
Do you remember that story?
Oh my God. I can't believe you remember that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was truly my Falcon. It was like rusting. It was this old black Mercedes. Yeah, I like crashed it into. What did I crash it into?
It was like
I
a
don't
curb
remember.
or something.
Oh yeah.
You're like
Oh,
coming
my
down a
God.
hill and like hit a patch of ice or
Yes. Yeah. It wasn't salted. It was icy, and I
Yeah.
like ran into the curb. Car was fine. It was like a tank. But anyways, I had a cassette tape, and every time the March of the Resistance came up, I would crank my stereo, piss off all the other drivers.
something? Yeah.
I would imagine I was in an X-Wing. Because that's like one of the coolest moments of this film, and this music really personifies that because like it's like this triumphant return of the hero of Poe, who was literally dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then J.J. Abrams was like, I'm going to bring him back.
Yeah.
And when he did, like Han Solo looks up to this guy, he's like, oh my God, it's the Resistance. And all the X-Wings come in. Oh, it's such a good moment. It feels like the entire movie led up to that scene.
Mhm.
And like the reveal of this song, I would say is similar to the reveal of the Empire's theme in Empire Strikes Back, because you had that build up and then finally, boom, it crescendos into the song.
Indeed. Yeah, it's got that like militaristic feel to it, but somewhat heroic, somewhat hopeful.
Oh yeah.
But you know, things are serious. It's not like it's not as like evil sounding as the Imperial March, but still has that classic John Williams military style to it. It's great.
Yeah, because like in the other films, correct me if I'm wrong, since you went through all of John Williams' soundtracks, there wasn't really a Rebel theme song.
No, because you would sometimes have like the Force theme, but that was usually specifically tied either to Luke or like his friends, and it kind of stopped becoming Luke's theme after I think Empire, and it just more kind of generally became known as the Force theme. But yeah, I don't think we've had music cues specifically for the Rebellion, but I guess now we do.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's time to cast our votes for The Force
Go.
Awakens. So Armand, what did you vote for The Force Awakens? How did you cast your votes?
Okay. I casted my votes in a non-conventional way.
Oh my
'Cause
God.
I'm a non-conventional guy.
Todd's going to have a fit.
So you guys did the 3, 2, 1, 3 being the best,
Mhm.
2 being middle, 1 being, third best, third place, bronze. I was like, you know what? There's 6 points to cast, so I'm going to divvy that up in a special way. So
All right, I
Ray's
guess that's
theme, I
legal.
gave 4 points because
Okay.
it's so damn good. Excuse me. I know it's a family show. And then Jedi Steps and the March of the Resistance are tied with 1 point each.
Wow.
I just love Ray's theme so much.
That's a
I
huge
give 4.
disparity.
4 points.
Okay. Well, I gave 1 point and 1 point only to the Jedi Steps and finale. Mostly because, like, as has been brought up on the show before, with these finale tracks, they're always double dipping. They're just grabbing all the other themes, and it just feels like cheating to me. So, as
Right.
wonderful as the Jedi Steps is, the finale, it's like, yeah, we've heard all that already.
Just chop that off.
Chop it off. Then I gave 2 points to March of the Resistance because, as we discussed, it's finally a time for the Rebels to shine and have their own theme, and it's great. And then Ray's theme gets the gold with 3 points, just because, like, I was thinking, what music was I actually like humming and hearing in my head after I left the theater? And it was Ray's theme. It just stuck out so beautifully. So that's my score.
Yeah. Truly is the best song out of that soundtrack.
It is. It is. So do we want to Todd and Carla wrote in their votes. Do you want to reveal it now, or should we wait until it's out on the socials?
I think we should reveal it now for the listeners.
Okay. All right. You lucky listeners. I guess by the time this podcast episode comes out, you can see the results on socials anyway. But Todd wrote in 3 points to the Jedi Steps and finale, 2 points to Rey's theme, 1 point to March of the Resistance. And Carla, same distribution, 3 points to Jedi Steps and finale, 2 to Rey's theme, 1 for March of the Resistance. All right.
Good thing we don't count in these mail-in votes, so we could just throw those in the trash.
We could just seize those mailboxes, make them disappear. We're going to rig this election.
All right, so do you guys do the total right now for each film as you go along?
We'll tally it up at the end.
Oh my God. Okay. Let's do it.
Okay. That means it's time for everyone's favorite film, The Last Jedi.
The best Star Wars film ever made.
Indeed. We've got it's the movie that almost destroyed this podcast.
Oh yeah.
we'll talk about that later.
Yes.
Okay, so there's 3 tracks for The Last Jedi. We've got The Last Jedi, The Spark, and The Battle of Crate. Let's start with The Last Jedi.
You know, when I go into the club, I just expect this music to play and just get down. This is my jam. And what do you think about The Last Jedi?
It's the only way to pregame. It's the only thing that will get me in the right headspace.
Gets you in the mood.
I'm going to be honest. I can't remember where this occurs in the movie. This is kind of showing the cracks in the armor, where it's like a lot of music to set the mood with The Last Jedi. Not a lot of distinctive themes that I can remember.
Isn't this when Kylo is fighting Luke? I know we're such big Star Wars fans right now.
You might be right.
I think. Yeah, it is. Because this is when Kylo realizes that it's force projection.
Yeah.
That he's fighting, not the real thing. Sticks his lightsaber through his ghost.
Mm-hmm.
What? No!
Some kind of astral projection nonsense.
Yeah, and like we were saying earlier, it feels like the foundation was The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything is kind of like derived from it. It's building upon what was made in The Force Awakens. And it's different than the other films because John Williams had a distinct sound for each film.
Mm-hmm.
Not really with the sequel trilogy. Kind of gets all mixed together into like one giant soundtrack.
Yeah, it's like... I'm going to give you an analogy, Armand.
Okay.
Have you ever tried to find a recipe with like the fewest ingredients possible?
I've been there.
Yeah. So the sequel trilogy, it feels like it's been pared down to the minimum, where John Williams, he's got like 4 or 5 ingredients, and he's trying to see like how many different dishes he can make with just those ingredients. And it's really interesting, the combinations that he comes up with and where they show up. And that's kind of part of the experience, is that we're introduced to each ingredient in The Force Awakens, and then The Last Jedi kind of flips it on its head, and he's working it all into different dishes. He can't go crazy. It's only like 5 ingredients, but he's doing the best with what he's got.
Yeah. Yeah, he has some pepper. He has onion powder.
Mm-hmm.
He has cinnamon.
Yeah.
He has some ginger. What can I make?
Yeah. Bunch of different spice blends. Speaking of which, here's our next track, The Spark.
Spark up that grill. I really like this song, but I'm trying to remember why I love it so much.
Yeah.
Because I gave it a score, which I'll not reveal yet.
Oh. That's revealing. What's the line? We are the spark that will light the flame, that will light the fire, that will light the light, that will guide the hope of the galaxy to the people.
House Atreides will light fire to the whole galaxy.
Exactly.
We will be the spark that lights the fire of hope. Poe says it. It made no sense.
The Olympics? The torch ceremony? I don't know.
Yeah.
I really love, John Williams doesn't do this all the time, but it's really cool when he does. At the beginning of the track, he's got like the double bassoons going, and it's just like really low, and it's got like this lovely woody tone to it. I really love that. And he occasionally will sprinkle it in. He'll give the bassoons some love, but then they're just kind of shoved to the side like they always are. But really cool when that does happen.
Oh, yeah. I will say the reason why his music is so memorable is because he knows how to command an orchestra.
Yes.
Like I mentioned CSO earlier, Chicago Symphony Orchestra. I went over the holidays with my fiance.
Oh, congrats, by the way.
Home Alone. Thank you. To see Home Alone in concert with a full orchestra. And it's, made by John Williams. And the music was fantastic.
Mm.
And I can like hear his hallmarks. I'm like, oh, that's like a Star Wars melody right there. Oh, that's from Indiana Jones. Like, he knows how to use the instruments to evoke such great emotion. And that's the best thing about these Star Wars movies when it comes to music is the instruments he chooses to highlight evoke such a great emotion that's perfect for what's happening on screen.
Absolutely. It's one of those things that it's like a mix of art and science where I'm not even sure, like, you could probably have someone on here who knows all about music theory and composition, and I think they still wouldn't be able to pin down exactly what gives it that John Williams flair that just makes it such a graceful, effortless endeavor for him to just put emotion to the page when it comes to music. And yeah, like you said, there's just such a effortless connection between emotions and what's happening on the screen and what you hear in the orchestra. And that's why he's a legend, because he just does it with such grace and class.
And before we move from The Spark, I remember why I love this song so much.
Okay.
Is because, one, it is the most unique track in the entire soundtrack. It's truly unique and new. It's not derivative from anything from Force Awakens. And it's also the scene. This is the scene where Kylo Ren fights Luke.
Okay.
It's the same when the AT-ATs are in the background.
Yep.
And they're fighting. It's during that scene it becomes the climactic moment where he realizes that he's been had.
Mm-hmm.
See you around, kid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, such a great song.
Wonderful. Okay, that means there's one last song to close out The Last Jedi. And here is the Battle of Crate.
But Aaron, this is the Force theme song.
Yeah.
May the Force be with you.
What
You
gives?
said you were going to play the Battle of Crate.
Oh,
Oh, wait. It's different. Gareth Edwards is an extra. Who's that guy walking up there?
speaking of which, I think it's finally time we told the story of how The Last Jedi almost destroyed WSTR, like so many
we're on the
AT-AT walkers.
battlefield. Let's do it.
So, longtime listeners of the show will know that Armand helped found the show. He was one of the early hosts, and then The Last Jedi came out. We had a review of the film. I think we had 2 or 3 episodes on it, and soon after, we parted ways. So, Armand, what happened?
Okay. I'm glad I didn't go on. So, seeing the film, it aged like a fine wine.
Yes.
When I saw it, I was so offended. Because, like, not because, like, oh, how did they do that to my character? It's like, JJ set up the trilogy, and then Ryan was like, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to do my own thing. And I was like, what? And then as it aged, I realized, wait a minute, I really like these set pieces and these themes that Rian Johnson put in there. And while it's not like a conventional Star Wars film, that's what makes it such a great film is it deconstructs what Star Wars is.
Yes.
And what Star Wars was. He could have made like a safe movie and like continued it just like all the other 7 films. But he was like, I'm going to do something different. And I appreciate, as you put it, the chutzpah to do something new.
Yes.
And we've seen this nihilistic Luke Skywalker. Huge contrast against Return of the Jedi when we last saw him. But I'm digressing. Point is, I was so offended when I saw this film. And I didn't want to do the podcast anymore. I was like, do I even like Star Wars anymore? I had like,
oh my God,
this I don't know, come to faith the moment. I'm like, okay, I need to decide. And I decided, for me to love this franchise, I need to step away. I stepped away. But we made amends. I said, hey, that wasn't cool, me just ghosting you. But I came back. And now Aaron, along with Todd and Carla, Heather one day will come on. We're all podcasting together.
Yeah.
In this nice Chicago, New Jersey community going on. But yeah. But I was not alone in that departure.
That is true. But that's a story for another time.
That is right.
Yeah, I had to say that The Last Jedi ended up being quite divisive for the show, where, like, I saw it, the first time I saw it in theaters, I'm like, that was good, I think. I saw it a second time, and I'm like, what is this? This is awful. And I didn't like it after a second viewing. I thought, this makes no sense. This was not thought through. This trilogy is a mess. It was all awful. And then, like you said, I realized later what it was actually doing. With The Force Awakens, I thought, we're coming back to Star Wars after 10 years. There's a whole new generation of people who have never seen Star Wars. There are people who are 80 years old and they grew up with Star Wars in the 70s. Disney had a brand new company. Disney has so many people to please that it's basically an impossible task. And their strategy, it seemed, was, you know what? We're going to play it safe. We're going to basically remake A New Hope, give it a new coat of paint, a new sheen, get some new unknown actors into it, give them some people that you can love, and just send them on a story with most of the major beats, but some important twists and changes to it that make it interesting. And it seemed like it worked. The Force Awakens made $1 billion, and all the reviews were great and seemed to please everybody. And then the next step was, all right, now you gotta take it up a notch. Give us something really new and unique and different to set this trilogy apart from the rest. We just weren't prepared for how unique and different it would be. And if Force Awakens was a return to form for Star Wars and bringing it into the modern era, The Last Jedi was a deconstruction of Star Wars. And I think when you look at it in that light, it really does shine as far as how sophisticated it is and all the new unique ideas that it's trying, and it's taking everything apart. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. It's taking everything apart and then rearranging it. All the pieces are in the wrong place, but they're all still the same pieces, and they make like a new image. And that's really unsettling for some people that wanted just the same old Star Wars over and over again. And it's challenging too, as far as what Star Wars means, all the major themes of it. And I think that's necessary and has its place. It's just unfortunate that this kind of movie was in a trilogy that was not there to support it.
Exactly. I think if you had a different director do Rise of Skywalker, I think that would have been the best outcome for this trilogy.
Yeah.
But instead, Disney did the safe bet and got J.J. Abrams come back.
Yeah.
So it's either J.J. does them all, or you have 3 different directors. Kind of like with the original trilogy.
Yeah. I think Disney got cold feet. There was a mixed reaction to The Last Jedi. It didn't make sense for a lot of people, and I think they were like, "Okay, back up, JJ, come back, please." It's weird and strange, especially because there's the usual criticism bandied about that the sequel trilogy wasn't planned and they didn't think things through. Maybe, I don't know how true that criticism is, but it certainly feels like it. So
yeah, but was the original trilogy planned?
No.
It's fine. I would say it's even great.
Yes. People like to pretend that Star Wars hasn't just been throwing crap at the wall to see what sticks since day one. But that's absolutely what it's done. So I'm less concerned that the sequel trilogy wasn't planned out from the beginning. It's just there were so many story threads that had to be tied up in one movie, the way that it was laid out, that they probably would have done fine by just having an outline before they began and handing it off to different directors who had such vastly different ideas about what they wanted to do with Star Wars. So as a result, it's just less than it could have been, and that's a shame.
Imagine if you had like Denis Villeneuve do The Last Jedi, or Robert Eggers do The Rise of Skywalker. That would be cool.
It would.
But instead they got J.J. Abrams. Not to knock J.J., but you could have got more creative people involved. Not saying he's not creative, but more, I don't know, like a Rian Johnson.
Yeah. Or just have the whole trilogy be a single creative vision from one person.
Yeah. Like J.J. Abrams.
Or Rian Johnson.
I think Rian shines just doing standalone films.
Yeah.
He did Looper. That was fantastic. Knives Out was amazing. So I think him just doing one movie is like his strong point. Not like planning this whole, trilogy of films.
You think he should have started the sequel trilogy?
I think, being honest,
I know we're not
think
talking about
Disney
music
did-
anymore, but I'm
I know, I'm talking
fascinated
about
by
the
this.
film now. I think Disney did the right choice on having The Force Awakens because like it was something new and yet something familiar at the same time. So it was a safe venture,
Yeah.
and they made a lot of money from that. I think Ryan Johnson doing the second film, I think was the best decision for Disney because like it's like, okay, you had a safe movie and then okay, now let's do something innovative. The shameful part is people reacted negatively, myself included.
Yeah.
They didn't see the work of art that it was. It's kind of like that moment in Back to the Future where Marty McFly is like, ooh, you guys aren't ready for that, but your kids are going to love it.
Yes.
And it's
It's
true
true
with The
for the
Last Jedi.
prequels.
Yes, exactly. Because like there was a spell where I was like, these movies are bad.
Mm-hmm.
They are not good. And now looking back, I'm like, you know what? Those were good movies. Those are very creative movies. Those are fun movies.
They're memorable. The worst thing you can be is boring.
Right. And there's a lot of people sitting on couches talking, but besides those scenes, like very memorable planets, very memorable stories, great actors, fantastic special effects. Like everything was innovative with those films. Those are first digital films. But yeah, like George knew what he was doing. He was like, oh, I want each movie to be its own thing.
Yeah.
This one's a mystery. This one is, lava.
Yeah. History's going to look kindly on George Lucas. I know he catches a lot of flack for a lot of creative decisions that he's made, but it must be, God darn it, it must be such a curse to have this world in your head that you've always envisioned and wanted to bring about. And every time it shows up on screen, it's less than what you imagined.
That's the curse of creativity, Aaron.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, like I can only imagine the things that he imagines or dreams about, envisions, but like putting pen to paper and like articulating it and like conceptualizing it, that takes a whole nother skill set.
It is.
And I think he had a great creative team, in the 70s and 80s and early 2000s. There's definitely something missing when it changed hands. And not to get too off the rails, but like, we talked about this in the Mandalorian episode when it came on to Syndicate.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the difference between, and they're both good, don't get me wrong, the Disney Lucasfilm creative team approaching Star Wars and Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau approaching Star Wars.
Yes.
It's two different mindsets. They're creating the same thing, but the outcome is completely different because they have, different goals in mind.
It really is. And the sequel trilogy was Disney just kind of like trying to find its steps and go like, whoa. Not sure how to handle this behemoth that they've acquired. And then it almost feels like all the TV shows have just been kind of like them finding their balance and just being like, okay, let's start small, work our way up. We got a team of people that we believe in. We've got Dave Filoni, who's basically George Lucas Jr. at this point, who's just been soaked in Star Wars under George Lucas's guidance for decades now. It's in good hands. It was just kind of touch and go for a bit there, and that might be the reason why these John Williams scores just don't hold up as well as the other trilogies.
I do have to say, I want to bring this up when we talked about Boba Fett.
Yeah.
But John Williams, like he created the sound of Star Wars. No question about it. And when we had Rogue One, you had somebody that was trying to like emulate it.
Yeah.
And also be atmospheric, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, Michael
And then you
Giacchino.
had,
He also had like 6 weeks to do it.
I know he did a great job under the pressure.
Yeah.
But Ludwig, how do you pronounce his last
Göransson.
name? He, like, you can tell he's inspired by Williams, but he doesn't try to imitate it.
No.
Like, he does his own thing, and now it's the new sound of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, he made the Mandalorian suite, and it's like, oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, flash forward 2 years. You want to see me do it again? And it's the Book of Boba Fett soundtrack, and it's
Yeah.
like, this is just as good. And it's the new sound of Star Wars. Like, it's moving beyond. It's still orchestral. It's still in the same vein of Williams, but it's moving beyond him. And I think that's the trajectory that Star Wars needs to go. It needs to go beyond what Williams made, even though it's amazing in all regards. But it's time to transition it to something new, but the same, kind of like Force Awakens.
Yeah. And that might explain the volatility of Star Wars fans, because you have like 5 generations of them, and they all came into Star Wars at different points. And so they all expect and want different things out of Star Wars, and it simply can't be everything for all people all the time. And I would agree with you that it's time to move on, time to move into something new. Let's leave the Skywalker saga behind and forge something new ahead. And that's functionally what happened with the sequel trilogy and then the TV shows. I mentioned it on the Boba Fett Syndicate that if the sequel trilogy was like a deconstruction of Star Wars, breaking it down into its constituent parts, the TV shows feel like it's a reformation of Star Wars, where it's reforming it into something new, taking all the good, even behind the bad, and what a gift it is. I love how we're just stalling as long as we can, so we don't have to talk about The Rise of Skywalker. But let's get back to the music with our votes here. Armand, how did you cast your votes for The Last Jedi?
So I love this Spark so much because, like, in preparation, I listened to all 3 soundtracks, start to finish, in full. I experienced the movies through music in this beautiful way. And it was like I was living the movies, but through the music. It was beautiful. So I could see where, I'm not going to say he was lazy, but he cut some corners. And with The Last Jedi, the Spark is the centerpiece of this entire soundtrack. Just like how Rey's theme is the centerpiece, along with some other tracks. The Last Jedi is very derivative from the previous entry, Force Awakens. So I gave The Spark such a high number of 5 points.
Oh my God.
I was like, you know what? I love it so much. And then The Last Jedi, I gave 1 point. And The Battle of Crates, I gave 0. Because it's like all 7 films in one song. It's like you have Battle of Endor, you have the Force, May the Force be with you, theme, and it's like, instead of plagiarizing yourself, John Williams, do something new, like you did with the other movie. I know it's hard. I know
he's tired. He's old.
No,
it's hard.
Well, that's why I gave it 0 points. It didn't deserve any points. It was nothing new.
Well, I used traditional scoring, and so I gave... actually had to change my vote because you convinced me, but I gave The Spark 3 points. Because like you said, it's kind of the culmination of the entire film in one song. I gave The Last Jedi 2 points and The Battle of Crate 1 point. Because The Battle of Crate, it's like all incidental...
exactly.
Like, basically combat music. It's responding to what's on screen, and that doesn't necessarily make for like a listenable track, if that makes sense.
Star Wars The Reprise, the song.
Yes. So it's too much of a good thing. And The Last Jedi gets 2 points by default.
Very
so
nice.
Carla gave 3 points to The Battle of Crate. 2 points to The Last Jedi and 1 point to The Spark. So wish you were here because I bet
Splash.
you two
Your
would be having a
opinion is
very
trash.
interesting conversation right now.
Like, you're wrong.
You should light her up on social media.
I will. I'll be like, did you know that you're wrong today? You woke
Better
up on the
tag
wrong
Todd
side
because
of the bed.
he also gave 3 points to the Battle of Crate.
Oh.
However, he gave 2 points to the Spark
Mm.
and 1 point to The Last Jedi.
Everyone, I value everyone's opinion. Just some are right, and some are wrong.
Wow. Okay. All right, we're running out of time here, so let's sprint to the finish with The Rise of Skywalker.
Okay, our favorite film.
All right, we're going to kick things off with, we got 3 tracks here. We got The Force is With You, Destiny of a Jedi, and the eponymous The Rise of Skywalker. So let's start
Oh my
things off
God.
with The Force is With You.
Sounds like Harry Potter, which John Williams also scored.
Mm. He's ripping off himself.
You can plagiarize yourself. My professor in college did say that.
Is that legal?
I will make it legal. And this is why, we'll get to it, why I scored it low.
Oh. You don't like piano in your
Rey's
Star
theme.
Wars?
It's Rey's, like I said, it's a derivative of the other films.
Ah,
It's like,
you're such a sourpuss, Armand.
I know. This is what happens.
All right. Well,
So, Aaron, how do you feel about The Force is With You?
I don't dislike this track, which I
Okay.
know is not high praise, but it contains a few things that are pretty rare for Star Wars soundtracks. 1, piano. 2, chorus. I think it was the
Right.
Spark that also had some choral elements to it, and I really love it when Star Wars does have that because we talked about this on 2 episodes ago with the prequel trilogy, that the addition of the chorus kind of elevates the music from simply the dramatic or the heroic to the mythic. It gives that kind of
Ooh.
religious element to it, and
Yeah.
used sparingly and used in the right moments, it can really make things seem larger than life. But here, with The Force is With You, it's like at the beginning, it's like a very small chorus, mostly female vocals. And here we have I believe it's a full men's choir with like the Emperor's theme, and
Mhm.
that too kind of gives it, this insane scale to it that
Yeah.
really is hard to find anywhere else. And so I always appreciate it when there's a bit of a choir element to Star Wars music.
Yeah, like with the original trilogy, there weren't any choir, chorus elements.
Mm-hmm.
You really did put that in with the Phantom Menace moving forward. The Duel of Fates is such a good song.
It is. It is.
What
What did you think about all of the Jedi joining in to help Rey at this moment in the film?
That's awesome because Rey is the best character ever.
Armand,
Which I think I
you're
explained in
dripping
my
with
last-
sarcasm. You're going to slip on it.
No, I'm not. I'm partially sarcastic. I mean, of course, Rey would be stronger than Vader and Luke because she is of a later lineage,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like with genetics. Your offspring is going to be, better than you. So it makes sense that Rey is a stronger Jedi than them. I just wish we could have seen Force ghosts of all these different Jedi helping her.
Yes.
Someone did a nice fan edit on YouTube where they like edited in all the Jedi behind her. It was pretty
I
awesome.
saw that. Yeah.
It's like,
I
guys,
mean, you weren't impressed when it
just
just panned to an empty star field for a minute?
No.
Just held on a static shot? My
I wish.
God.
Okay,
That
someone
might have been
also
the
did
low
an
point of
edit.
the movie.
Someone did an edit on YouTube. Have you seen Uncut Gems?
Yes.
Okay. Someone did an ending to Rise of Skywalker, like Uncut Gems, where Rey died and the rebellion was destroyed,
Yeah.
and like zooms into her like dead eye, and it's like ding, boom, and then the credits start. That would have been the most ballsy ending this
Yeah.
series would have done. But it's not a Star Wars ending. This is a story of hope.
It's not a Disney Star Wars ending.
Ryan Johnson, if he made the last film, probably would have done that.
Yeah. I don't even know if I would have liked it, but I would have respected the attempt, you know?
Right.
All right. That's enough bashing on The Rise of Skywalker for now. We have the next track, Destiny of a Jedi.
Oh my God.
Here we
Am I
go.
a Jedi? Got a little Ray action in there.
Yeah. All right, Armand. What do we have
Okay.
going on here?
Yeah, the Force theme. So once again, I mean, let's be honest. Okay, so the Rise of Skywalker is the victory lap for
Mhm.
Star Wars. It's not a great victory lap. It's kind of convoluted.
Kind of.
It's kind of like, yeah, I did it. Go home. Nope. I'm going around the racetrack once again. Can you leave? Nope.
Oh my God.
So it makes sense that the music reflects that it's like, okay, this is a celebration of Star Wars. This is the final Star Wars film in this series.
Mhm.
So might as well hit all the hallmarks of what makes Star Wars music great. And I think John Williams did that in this soundtrack. It's like, hey, remember episode 1? Oh yeah. I episode- Pepperidge Farm remembers. So we have all of that going on in this track once again. It's a victory lap. That's what it is.
Indeed. Yeah. I don't really have that much to say about it. Which pretty much
I
goes
don't
for
really like this soundtrack.
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
I really-
know,
I
we're,
really
we're supposed to be celebrating
trudged
the John
through it.
Williams Jamboree, and we're
John
ending on a
Williams
bit
is
of a wet
great.
fart, but
You could have done reverse,
we could have, but
Machete style.
had to go
Rise
in
of
order.
Skywalker, then Last Jedi, then Force Awakens.
Ugh.
But yeah, this who am I to be a critic of the great John Williams? But it's just like this soundtrack is not memorable. And
No.
I think he knows it. I think he was like, yeah, Force Awakens. A little bit of Attack of the Clones in there,
Oh no.
and we're done. Okay, the bank check cleared. All right, I'm going home.
That's unfortunate. But it's not really his fault, is it?
No, he's just he was paid to do it. So he did it.
He's not working with
probably
George
had,
anymore.
Oh no.
He's not doing Spielberg any favors.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to stop when you're on top.
Yep.
You know? But it's hard to say, hey, I'm done at the height of your career. You just want to keep on doing it.
That's what Luke had to do. And John Williams, he's probably going to do the same thing. He's going to retire to Ireland, hang up the baton, put on his weird, scraggly old cloak, drink some green milk straight from the udder, and say, you know what? I did my best. I changed the world of movie soundtracks. I'm done.
And I did it my way.
All right. We got one more track here, and then we got to get on with the rest of the episode.
Isn't this song not done yet?
No, it's 5 minutes and 13 seconds in length, which, if you ask me, is just...
We played the whole Jedi
4
Steps
minutes too
finale,
long.
and that's 8 minutes long.
I know.
So it's actually good.
Yeah. Okay, we got one last track here, and it's called The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, I know what that is. It's the magic flute?
Yes.
This is Star Wars.
It is a lovely woodwinds rendition of the Rey theme. Kind of.
Oh. This is why I rated this one high.
Mm,
I was like, this is actually pretty good.
this is nice. This is something new.
I like it. Oh, we're done now?
Well, we've got 4 more minutes of it, but we got to talk about it. Armand, what's going on with this track?
Like I said, it's a victory lap. I believe this song occurs after the battle is won. Emperor Palpatine, who returned somehow, was destroyed somehow.
Oh.
Princess Leia passed away. And now we have the new alliance formed. And a new hope for the future. Get it? It's a good song. It's a very somber song. You know?
Yeah, it's
like-
it's stately.
It's like you want this, like, imagine episode 4, Star Wars: The Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And you have Luke Skywalker going down the hall triumphantly, you know, reminiscent of old 1930s footage. And it's very triumphant. It's like, oh, the throne room, the medals. It's like this big gesture of an ending. And then with this saga, after everything we've been through with these characters, it's kind of fitting to have a somber ending. It's like, yeah, we won, but also we went through some stuff.
Yeah, it's a Pyrrhic
We've
victory.
grown. Yeah.
You know what? I kind of agree with you on that. I think, like, you know, we've had the big bombastic, in-your-face, triumphant ending. Maybe it's time to just take things back a little notch. We've heard
Sounds a
this
lot
thing
like,
before.
yeah. Sounds a little bit like Harry Potter again.
Yeah.
This is Harry Potter's going, this broom. I'm going to Hogwarts. He never said that.
No. Could you imagine?
That's it, guys. I'm going to Hogwarts. Dun, 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 dun.
It ends in like a Rage Against the Machine song.
Yes. That's my Harry Potter.
I can vibe with that.
Aaron, what did you think of the Rise of Skywalker song?
It's okay. It sounds like a funeral, not like the triumphant ending, not the victory lap. It's not the Force is with you.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what it's like, but it's just it feels like a saga dying with a whimper instead of going out with a bang. And whether that's a good thing or not is kind of left up to your interpretation.
It's kind of like the Star Wars franchise. The Skywalker saga is in the coffin, being lowered.
Yep.
And you have dirt in your hand. You just cast it onto the casket. It's like,
I was actually imagining like a Viking funeral. Like
oh, you're burning it.
It's in the boat.
Yes.
Pushing it out to sea. And you've got the archers at the ready with their fire arrows to light it on fire. Yeah.
Don't miss.
Don't miss.
They missed it in Game of Thrones season 2.
Oh.
Like, took them 5 tries.
Shameful. All right. Let's cast our votes. How did you divvy up your votes for The Rise of Skywalker, Armand?
I'm sorry. And you know what? I'm going to fix this. There we go.
Are you changing the votes after the fact?
I live in Chicago, my friend. We both do. It's the Chicago way.
Yeah.
Okay. So The Force is with you. I did not like it at all. I'm sorry. Gave it 0 points.
0?
0. Did not like it at all. Just like with the soundtrack. Didn't like it. Destiny of a Jedi. I gave 1 point.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
1 measly point.
The Rise of Skywalker. Since we deconstructed it, we analyzed it. I gave 5 points because I loved it so much. I was like, you know what? I actually like this song.
Huh.
It's a fitting end to this movie. It's a fitting end to this trilogy that ends on a somber whimper.
Oh.
Just like the universe that will die one day.
Oh,
Will not die with a
Armand.
bang. It'll die with a whimper as we go into the black hole phase.
Welcome to WSTR, a podcast where we promote positivity, life, and hope. And a little Star Wars along the way.
That's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. We will be with the cosmos forever.
That's true. We're all stardust.
That's right.
I was pretty much complete polar opposite to you. I gave 3 points to The Force is with you. I thought
You love that.
I thought this movie is such a mess. Why not just go with the bombast and have as messy an ending as possible? I'm all about it with The Force is with you. Destiny of a Jedi, 2 points. And Rise of Skywalker, 1 point. Because I just don't like to think about it, Armand. What it represents, what it means.
You want to know something?
Sure.
So, of course, I went to the midnight premiere of The Rise of Skywalker, and I had a little bit too many Star Wars drinks that the movie theater provided. And I was just sitting there. I'm like, I don't care what's happening.
That's the only way to watch it.
I was like, this movie is insane. And I enjoyed it.
It is a glorious, glorious mess.
Yes.
Carla had this to say about the soundtrack. She gave 3 points to The Force is with you, 2 points to The Rise of Skywalker, and 1 point to Destiny of a Jedi. Then we had Todd write in with 3 points to The Force is with you, 2 points to Destiny of a Jedi, and 2 points to The Rise of Skywalker, and 1 point to Destiny of a Jedi. So same vote as Carla.
Change his vote.
Yeah. Same votes. All right. That means it's time to tally up our winners. So for The Force Awakens, in third place, we had March of the Resistance with 5 measly points. Coming in at second place, we had The Jedi Steps End Finale with
It's the
8
2020
points.
election all over again.
I know. In first place, Ray's Theme with 11 points.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was the
That's my
crowd
girl.
favorite. Then we had The Last Jedi. Tied for second, we have The Last Jedi and The Battle of Crate at 7 points each.
This is of my design.
Coming in at number 1 is The Spark with 11 points.
It's a good song.
And then The Rise of Skywalker. Coming in at third
Yes.
place
Uh-huh.
with 5 points. Destiny of a Jedi.
My God.
Coming in at
Yes.
second with 9 points. The Force is with you. And coming in at number 1 at 10 points. The Rise of Skywalker.
That's right. Election is not rigged.
So Armand, I hope you're happy.
I'm happy.
Well,
So what's
thus
the ultimate
concludes.
song?
What's that?
What's the ultimate song of the trilogy? Or is that for next week?
No, this is the end of our John Williams Jamboree.
Yeah, but what's the best song of the entire franchise?
Best song of the entire franchise?
I'd say it's Ray's Theme.
I'm going to let Todd tally that up and put it out on the socials because I do not have that readily available. But we will get that out to you. Yes, the Boba Fett theme conquers all. All right. So, Armand, you had some honorable mentions that you wanted to include into the selection today.
I did. I have one from each film of this trilogy.
Go for
The
it.
first one from The Force Awakens is the attack on the Jakku village, which is right after the fanfare. I believe this encapsulates the entire film within the song while being unique about it. Because we talked about how the finale is like, oh, it cherry picks like all the big themes for like a nice end credit symphony. But for the attack on Jakku, it like sets up the entire film. You have the intrigue, you have Kylo Ren attacking, and then you have the First Order blowing up the village, and then BB-8 running away.
Mhm.
And it has this beautiful theme. Like when you listen to it, start to finish, it's like, this is like the entire film, like the essence of the film within this song.
Excellent. What do you have for The Last Jedi?
So I have Canto Bite, and I was surprised because I don't like the Canto Bite sequence. I like the message, the whole military industrial complex,
Mhm.
but it wasn't executed in the best way. But the song, the theme of Canto Bite is so unique, and also we've never had an island-inspired song in Star Wars before.
Oh.
The closest thing I would say is like the Cantina song in A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a nice addition to the whole music that's found in Jizz in
Yes.
Star Wars. George Lucas knew what he was doing when he
Oh,
called it
yes.
that.
It is known.
It is known.
And what about The Rise of Skywalker?
I really liked Join Me. It was very emotional. It seemed inspired from Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. We talked about the emotions in Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker a little bit, but like this one really stuck out to me. I was like, ooh, I really like this track. Good job, John Williams.
Well said. We had Todd write in with some honorable mentions. The Force Awakens, he picked Han and Leia. Scherzo for X-Wings, which I just love that title. And The Falcon. For The Last Jedi, he wrote in The Supremacy and The Sacred Jedi Texts. And for The Rise of Skywalker, he picked Anthem of Evil and The Old Death Star.
Anthem of Evil is good. I was like, ooh.
I'll have to
that
give it a
slaps.
listen. All right. Well, that's the conclusion of our John Williams Jamboree for the entire month of February. Thank you, everybody, for coming along for the ride and sticking it out with us. And we're going to breeze through the rest of the episode here. But first, we got to pay some bills. Audible, you know what it is. Audiobook streaming service provided by Amazon. You can head over to audibletrial.com/WSTR to claim your free 30-day trial. That's a free audiobook of your choice and 2 free Audible originals every month. And if you want to game the system and just quit after the first month, no questions asked. We still get a kickback. You still get your free audiobook and 2 Audible originals. Everybody wins. Jeff Bezos loses. So get on there. We're also brought to you by our generous patrons over at patreon.com/WSTR Media. That includes Jeremy Myers, Scarif Scuttlebutt, Elena Strikes, Nicholas Schaefer, Rural Farm Boy, David Sager, and Kevin Abato. Thank you so much for your generous contributions every month. They are underwriting this show in a major way, so we really do appreciate it. Thank you. All right, that means it's time for the Twitter Trash Compactor.
Get in there, you big polio! I don't care what you smell!
Okay, so
it smells.
I thought it smelled bad on the outside. All right, so we got a flash poll. Will we get an Obi-Wan trailer today on the Super Bowl? Yes or no? The no's had it with 63%, and the yeses had 38%. And turns out the no's were correct. They were right. No Obi-Wan trailer on the Super Bowl. However, we did get Ewan McGregor trying to sell us some car insurance or something. So that was quite the tease. I don't know. I didn't watch it.
Goats.
And
Disney
goats?
Plus.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they had a commercial with goats. Like, hey, this is the goats. They had real goats dressed up as characters. That's pretty stupid. They ran out of money.
Yeah, I could see that. Then we had another Twitter poll. It is Twitter Trash Compactor time. We are celebrating John Williams' work on the prequel trilogy. What is your favorite track? Comments welcomed. Hashtag We Are Red 5. Hashtag Red 5 Network. So we had 4 choices. Duel of the Fates, Across the Stars, Battle of the Heroes, and Anakin's Betrayal. Out of all those 4, Armand, did you have a favorite?
You know, I really like Duel of the Fates. That is my favorite, but I would have voted for Across the Stars. It's such a beautiful song.
It's a great romantic track.
Yeah.
However, Twitter would see things differently.
Yeah, they do.
Across the Stars, Battle of the Heroes, and Anakin's Betrayal all tied for second with 13% apiece. And we had Duel of the Fates with the clear winner at 63% of the vote. Although we did have a write-in from Todd himself.
Oh my God.
Hands down, Anakin's Betrayal is one of the best tracks of the prequels, with an attached GIF of Anakin looking back into the camera before he wipes out all the separatists on Mustafar.
Yes.
All right. It's all the trash taken out. Now it's time for intercepted Imperial transmissions.
Senator! Intercepted Imperial transmission, Mom.
Okay, we've been teasing you for weeks on end of all these intercepted Imperial transmissions, and we've kept running out of time because we've been talking about John Williams and all his stupid crap. So here is the mailbag. All right, we got from Ruthie Carlo from the Reshoot podcast. Hey. We've got the Boba Fett episode 5 thoughts. All right. They said, I loved seeing Mando again and all the references to The Phantom Menace. The fight choreography was great, especially showing Mando struggling to use the Darksaber. It made the fight very interesting. I feel weird about no Boba Fett this episode, as it kind of feels like it's sidelining the main character, but I'll save judgment on it if it was a smart decision for the end of the season. Armand, any thoughts on this bit of feedback? Thank you, by the way, for writing in.
Yeah. Her and the rest of her podcast come on Syndicate a lot. Definitely check them out, Reshoot podcast. But yeah, I mean, the Book of Boba Fett, like my friend Doug put it, felt like the chapter of Boba Fett. Even though I love the Ring World, love Mando coming back.
Yeah.
It's like, why is this in the Book of Boba Fett? Shouldn't it be about Boba Fett? You know?
You would think. Yeah, it's a bit strange. I'm more okay with it because, Favreau set this up as the Book of Boba Fett, or Book of Boba Fett as The Mandalorian, season 2.5, which I'm fine with. I wonder if eventually we're going to get to the point where we have a series where it's just an anthology series, where one episode it's just focuses on this character, and then another one pops up and continues their story, and then it pops up to the first character again, and then to a third character. We kind of get that with Book of Boba Fett.
Dead.
Yeah. But still kind of strange. Doesn't feel like it fits right.
It'll work one day.
Yeah. They'll get there. So thank you, Ruthie, for writing in. But we also got a voicemail. This is from Ro from the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. And poor Ro. We've been teasing playing his voicemail for weeks on end, and we never got to it. But now we're going to give it our full, undivided attention. So without further ado, here is Ro from the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast.
What's up, team at WSTR Galactic Public Access? This is Ro from the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. You just recently posted a question on your Twitter. How do we all think that this is going to wrap up? Hashtag Book of Boba Fett. Hashtag what's the deal with Boba Fett? So, I don't know. This has been a very up and down roller coaster ride. We don't know what's going to happen one week over the other, especially the last two episodes. And I don't know. I'm speechless, actually. The one thing that I do think is going to happen, obviously, this series has been treated like almost like a tease to everything else that Star Wars streaming is about to do. So, which is cool. But I expected a little bit more story about Boba Fett and his takeover of the criminal underground, which I guess we're slowly starting at the end here, tail end, 7th and final episode. So we'll see what happens. But I'm expecting a free-for-all galactic brawl on the scale we have not seen before. So hopefully that'll happen. Hopefully it'll be cool, and we'll all be satisfied, and we'll go back to making great content and talking about Star Wars. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see what happens next week. May the Force be with you. Thanks, guys, for letting me chat, and we'll see you around the galaxy. This is Ro, and that's the Scuttlebutt.
Thank you so much, Ro. Looks like he was pretty dead on with his predictions.
Yeah. We had a Rancor. We had big robots shooting stuff. Gotta say, I got blown up.
Mm-hmm.
Syndicate showed up, got blown up.
The Syndicate.
Oh my God.
Nice branding. I know personally, I was very worried about how they're going to try to attempt to stick the landing with the end of Book of Boba Fett. And it seems like they mostly did it, but it was still quite a bit of a mess, especially when they have all these different groups of people at the end during the fight, and they're trying to give something for everybody to do, and sometimes it didn't quite make sense.
You didn't like Mando spinning around?
Mando didn't spin around, that one mod did.
Mando spun. The mod spun.
Did he try spinning?
Mando spun.
Oh my
He spun
God.
behind Boba Fett when he was shooting somebody.
Well, if you can make it look cool, then you can get away with it, I guess.
He made it look cool. I don't mind. He has his Beskar on.
Yeah.
Better get shot in the back than in the face.
Yeah. It's harder to explain it away when you grab a sniper rifle so you can go up one story up to a roof just to shoot the droid in the shield again and for it to not work. Remember that?
I do. I really did not like this series. And when we got to the big stupid brawl at the end, I was like, I just turned my brain off. I was like, you know what?
You kind of have to.
Whatever. Good choreography, I do have to say.
Yeah, it was very
special effects.
enjoyable, even if it didn't make much sense.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. I just have a pretty high standard when
Yeah,
it comes to like storytelling. And it's like, oh, okay. Whatever.
yeah.
It'll
Look-
be fine.
Little preview of our discussion on that episode of the Syndicate, but it really did feel like they were trying to cram 2 seasons worth of content into 1 season, and it's like,
In
It
7 episodes.
yeah,
It's not even a full season.
it was like an exponential curve as like how much it ramped up at the end, and it's like, can't pace it like that.
Oh, well.
Oh well, let's let
It
bygones
happened.
be bygones.
That's right.
We got another intercepted Imperial transmission, this time from David Sager, one of our patrons. Hello.
Hello, David.
He said, "Hey guys, tuned into episode 257 and wanted to chime in on Luke's AI voice replication. I did a project last semester in grad school where I dug into some of the capabilities the public has to doing AI voice replication. And let me tell you, it's here and it's good. My current favorite application is Descript. It's crazy how good and how fast you can have a voice replicated. All they need is 10 plus minutes of recorded dialogue. Anywho, thought I'd jump on the excitement of voice AI. And Carla is right. The Legends of Vox Machina rule. Take care, guys." Thank you so much, David. It's great to hear from you. But yeah, Descript, Respeecher, all these AI voice apps. Is this a dystopian nightmare in the making, Armand?
Well, no, because I use Descript professionally.
Oh my God.
I actually have it up on my desktop right now. Because they have a good transcribe feature where you just like put in audio or video
Mm-hmm.
and it transcribes the audio for you. It's very nice.
Oh.
You just extract the dialogue without typing it out. Does it for you.
Nice.
Very convenient. Descript's also nice for podcast editing. I don't personally use it for podcast editing.
Right.
But yeah. But anyways, here's the thing. So I use the Adobe Suite and I can tell when something's photoshopped.
Mm-hmm.
With audio, however, Adobe just created, as in maybe 5 years ago, they made the software where it's AI voice. Like they can make you say anything.
Yeah.
Based on however amount of dialogue that you provide for them. But the speech audio file in the wavelength has like a certain like code or serial number in there, which denotes like, oh, it's fake. Because like you can essentially make anybody say anything, especially with deepfake technology. You can like really make something convincing. So there needs to be some sort of stuff in place to prevent fraud from happening.
Yeah.
I know I'm going on a completely different direction. with
Oh, I
this,
know.
Question, but is it a Black Mirror episode come to life? Yes. But people are gonna set parameters where it can't be abused. Hopefully. But I didn't know that was AI for Luke. I thought they just had Mark Hamill and kind of like zhuzhed it up.
No, they well, it was Mark Hamill. They fed Respeecher, I think, is the program that they use. Same company that worked on Val Kilmer's AI generated dialogue.
Really? Wow.
They fed him a bunch. They fed it a bunch of Mark Hamill dialogue recorded from the original trilogy, and then I think they had Mark Hamill perform like a guide track for how he would deliver the audio, and then they used that to like match up the Respeecher generated dialogue.
Wow, that's wild.
Mostly good success. There's some parts of it where like, it kind of lacks
honestly
some expression that I think Mark Hamill would have, but even still, it sounds great. Sounds just like him.
I was so amazed. I was like, oh, that's Luke.
Yeah.
They made him look so good. I was like, oh my God.
Seamless.
It's like scary.
Yes. So thank you, David Sager, for writing that in and bringing our attention to like this is not even like black box professional stuff that only they have access to. This is like available to the consumer, which is wild.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's about all we got for intercepted Imperial transmissions. So with that, let's go ahead and get right to Cantina Chat. All right, the part of the show where we talk about everything geeky and weird going on with our lives. Armand, what have you been up to?
Well, I don't know if this counts as geeky, unless you count horror as geeky.
Sure.
I just binged Midnight Mass on Netflix.
Okay.
After having 4 people to tell me to watch it. So I watched it 6 months later.
Of course. I'm the same way.
And oh my God, it was so good. I was so surprised because of the quality of storytelling present in this was phenomenal. Every range of emotions was had watching this. So if anyone hasn't seen Midnight Mass, it's a horror miniseries.
Well, Armand, I'm going to stop you right there, and we're going to flip the tables here. So whenever I'm the guest on the Syndicate podcast, you give me 60 or sometimes 30 seconds
to
give a little bit of an elevator pitch. So I'm going to do the same thing for you with Midnight Mass. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Your time starts now.
Stand clear of the closing door.
Imagine Stephen King, his universe, his Maine, his New England. Well, this is made by Mike Flanagan, the guy who made Bly Manor and Haunting of Hill House and Dr. Sleep. So he made his own thing called Midnight Mass, where it centers around this seaside town, this little seaside island in the New England area. And some strange things happen. They have this Monsignor of this Catholic church. He goes missing, and then this new guy comes in, and then lo and behold, there's some vampiric misfortunes happening in the society, and everyone's faith is tested, faith of everyone involved, and they have to decide what to do about this growing threats among the community. Who will be the sheep and who will be the wolves? Go watch Midnight Mass.
All right, with 2 seconds to spare. Well done.
You're a glutton for punishment, or maybe I am. I don't know.
Thanks for being a good sport. But yes, excellent. Anything else on your plate?
Watching Euphoria on HBO. One of the best cinematography I've ever seen in my entire life. Great storytelling. If anyone has HBO Max and is over the age of 18, go watch Euphoria.
Right on.
That's about it.
All right. Well, Todd wrote in that he finished up the Peacemaker show. Fantastic finale. Great show from top to bottom. Excited that season 2 is a go. Having laptop woes, so had to send that off to get fixed. Good times. Well, we're sorry, Todd. We know that you would love to be here if you could. So hope you can get that straightened out for next week.
Is that why he's not here? He's having trouble with his Falcon.
Could be.
Some
so he didn't tell me.
Wiring.
That might be why. Anyway, hope that's sorted out soon. For myself, my roommate and I, we built a Plex server. For those who don't know what that is, we started our own streaming service. There's this software that you can run on your computer called Plex. And it's basically, you can stream whatever so long as you provide the video files. And so if you have your own video library, you can basically set that up so you can access it anywhere you go, on your phone, on your laptop, on other computers, on TVs, pretty much anywhere that you can watch video, you can watch Plex. And it is fantastic. So my roommate and I, we've been wanting to get people into the Clone Wars show as much as possible. And we have basically 2 collections of Clone Wars on there. One is like everything in chronological order. The other is they're called like film cuts of the Clone Wars, where they take each arc, like each story arc. For those who don't know, the Clone Wars was written like a movie, or like a series of movies, where it'd be like 90 minutes to 2 hours of story. But then because of the contract with Cartoon Network, they had to divvy those up into like 22-minute episodes. So we found this edit where they string them all together. So you would have an arc where it's like 3 or 4 or 5 episodes together, and someone out there just like cut out all the credits in between the episodes that make up that arc and stitch them all together as like a movie. And it's great. It's the way to watch the series. It just flows together incredibly well. So we have that on our Plex. We have a bunch of other stuff, but yeah, we just bought like one of those tiny computers that like at offices they have strapped to the back of the monitor. We bought one of those, threw an SSD in there. We attached a 4 terabyte hard drive externally to it, and we just have it set up so it runs 24/7. We have Plex running on there. It's great. Works really, really well.
My God.
I know. We're becoming media tycoons. And besides that, I also got a new set of desktop monitor speakers, and it's incredible how well these sound. Like when I first turned them on, like I almost cried. They sound so good. I won't get too technical with it, but the way that they're constructed and set up is that it comes with a microphone, and you set it up like where your listening position is, and the speakers, they play a frequency sweep. So it's like from low to, it's like a sweep through all of the different sound frequencies that the human ear can hear, and it just plays it at a really loud volume. It sounds like beep, beep, and the microphone measures that, and the speaker then compares like the pure signal that it sent out, corrected for by all the imperfections that the speaker has, all the imperfections that the microphone has. It corrects for that, and then it measures what the microphone hears in the room from playing that signal. And so it can then compare what it hears to the pure signal and correct for all the differences. So essentially, it listens to what happens in your room and cancels that out, so that no matter how imperfect your room might be, you're hearing everything as it should sound accurately through the speakers. I'm sure I lost a lot of people with that explanation, but basically the speakers can correct for the room so that what you're hearing is actually what you should be hearing, and not muffled by imperfections in your room.
Is it possible to learn this power?
Yes, it is. I can send you a link after the show if you want, but yeah, these speakers are pretty amazing.
That's so cool. Can
Yeah.
you play Halo with them? Is it just for producing?
I mean, I listen to music on them. I do work with them. They're incredibly accurate. I play Battlefront 2 on them. They're great.
Okay. Hit me up.
All right. So that brings us to the conclusion of another episode of WSTR podcast. So thanks again for listening. You can find us on the socials. Armand at
Syndicates.
At
That
Syndicates.
is Cinedicate. Syndicates.
Excellent. Heather at Hawk Awesome, Carla at Carla Marie Giac, Todd at Tizad, myself at Aaron Julian, and we are part of the Red 5 Network, a wonderful network of Star Wars podcasts. We also have our own handle at WSTR Media, and we want to hear from you, so please comment, tweet, rate us on Apple Podcasts. If you give us a 5-star rating, we'll throw some swag directly into your face, whether you want to or not. Retweet or email us a screenshot of the rating. We'll read it out in the next podcast. You can catch our entire back catalog of episodes at podcast.wstrmedia.com. We got our merch store, store.wstrmedia.com. The good folks over at Teespring, I think they're just called Spring now, will cover yourself or a loved one head to toe in WSTR merch. And patreon.com/WSTRmedia. Thanks for hanging out in the YouTube chat, everybody. Y'all are wild. Y'all are whack. You had like a completely different conversation than what we had during the actual podcast, but that's the fun of it. You guys are a great community, and it's really cool to see you guys coming back week after week. We live stream at livestream.wstrmedia.com. That will take you to our YouTube page where we live stream every week, Monday nights, 9 o'clock Central Standard Time-ish. Running a little late today. And please, if you have any ideas for a show or you would love us to interview someone, and by the way, this is someone that you actually know that you could set us up with, not, hey, you guys should interview Dave Filoni. Yeah, we know that. We would love that. But if you have like a connection with someone, if you could set us up with someone that you would love to have on the show, reach out to us. We would love to hear that. Or you could drop us an email at mailbox@wstrmedia.com. You can leave us a voicemail at 630-557-WSTR. That's 630-557-9787. Leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on an upcoming episode eventually. Sorry, Ro. We took a long time getting to you, but we did it. And next week, episode 259, we're looking at, or going to try to look at, all of John's other works in film with a special guest, Dan/Captain Ambivious? Todd.
Ambivalous.
Todd.
Is Captain Ambivalous?
Todd. We'll go with Captain Ambivalous.
I know Todd needs to learn his spelling.
Next week, episode 259, we're going to be looking at, or at least going to try to look at, all of John's other works in film with a special guest, Dan/Captain Ambivalous. Tune in next week for that. All right, Armand, you know the drill. There's only one way to end a WSTR podcast. Now this is podcasting. And we are clear.